Hello everyone, Cindy here with Monarch Mom DIY. Thank you so much for joining me today on my channel where I love to bring you the best tips and tools for creating beautiful home decor on a budget. I want to say happy July, and I've been noticing that some of my Christmas videos from last year have been getting some views lately. So I've never done this before, but I decided to do a Christmas in July series, but I am doing Christmas DIYs that you can make with craft supplies that are available year round. So you're not going to see like Christmas florals or the wood shape Christmas ornaments that are out in our Dollar Tree stores around Christmas time, starting around in the fall. So I hope you enjoy this. I have 5 projects for you today that are these easy but look great Christmas decor DIYs using everyday available items. Today's first project is a Christmas wood round. I'm using these wood rounds from Hobby Lobby. They have them all the time. Also some poster letters from Dollar Tree, some paint, and some Christmas scrapbook paper that you can also get at Hobby Lobby anytime. These wood rounds, you get 3 of them in a package. They are 14 inches wide and have about 1/4 of an inch thick. What I'm going to do is take my Fern Waverly chalk paint, or you can do any color acrylic paint that you want, and I'm just going to paint about the top half of my wood round with this chalk paint color, and then I'm also going to use the Fern paint on the edges going all the way around. You may have seen I was sanding the edges lightly. It is a little bit unfinished, so if you want a smooth edge, you'll want to go ahead and sand that. Now that the paint is dry, I'm measuring down about halfway, a little bit more than halfway, and I'm just going to use my straight edge ruler here to make a line all the way across. This is going to be where I mark the scrapbook paper. So I'm lining up the corner there, and then you do see, because this is 12-inch scrapbook paper, I am going to have to put a second piece over there on the right, just matching up the patterns. What I'm going to do next, now that I have my paper cut, is I'm going to do a layer of matte finish Mod Podge over the entire wood round. This is going to help seal in our paint on the top half, and it's also going to give us a base for our scrapbook paper on the bottom. Now this will be the second time I've used this method for Mod Podging. My Mod Podge is all dry, so I'm going to line up my scrapbook paper on my line. I'm going to put a sheet of parchment paper over, once I get my small piece over there cut, and then I'm going to iron my scrapbook paper onto the Mod Podge. This, I don't know why I waited so long to try this method. It is amazing because you don't get any bubbles, which is awesome. Your scrapbook paper stays nice and smooth, and it's just so much faster to use the iron. So here's my paper lining up, put a little sheet of parchment paper over, and then, like I said, I'm just going to take my iron. I think I had mine set like on 3 on a dry, so no steam. And I'm just going to go over it for a couple of minutes. And the heat reactivates the Mod Podge, even though it was dry, so that now our scrapbook paper is going to adhere to our wood round. I do kind of press a little hard on the edges because I am going to then turn that over and trim those edges with my cutting knife. Next, I'm going to use the poster sticker letters from Dollar Tree to spell Merry. You can, of course, make this say whatever you want. I would have done Merry Christmas, but I didn't have any H's. So I did, by the way, when I was doing this, went through and cut all the letters out of my leftover sticker sheets, and I have them organized now, so I know what letters I have. But here, just using that ruler to make a space but still a straight line between the scrapbook paper and where I'm placing the letters. You can start with your middle letter and then work your way out. So there's the word Mary. And then we're going to flip over our piece now that our scrapbook paper is dry. And like I said, using my fingertip crafting knife from Fiskars, we're going to trim off that excess scrapbook paper and then continue working with our round. So you've seen me do different methods for making bows. Usually I like the crisscross messy bow, but this time I'm going to make some stacked loops. So this red burlap is going to be my largest loop, and then I have a wired green. You can see my loop is just a little bit smaller, and then we'll layer a couple more ribbons on top of that, and then tie them in the center with a zip tie to get them nice and tight. Once our bow was made, I did take a piece of black to go around the zip tie to hide that and give our bow a finished look. So I'm just hot gluing one end of it to the back, trimming the excess, and then we'll wrap the other side around and glue that down and trim the excess as well. This step is optional, but if you want to give a little bit of a rustic edge to your piece, you can just sand in a downward motion. And then you can see I did drill 2 holes in the top. Then going across where the green paint meets the scrapbook paper, I am taking that same black ribbon that we used on the bow and just gluing a strip of that across, just again to help give a more finished look to our project. Next, we'll take some thin jute twine and we're going to thread it through our little holes there to make a hanger for our wood round. And then our final step will be to add our bow. And here's my finished product. Of course, yours might look completely different depending on what color paint, what scrapbook paper, and what ribbons you use to make your bow. But here is your basic idea for Christmas in July DIY number 1. If you are stopping by my channel for the first time today, Welcome. I'm so glad you found me. I hope you'll consider sticking around by hitting that subscribe button. And if you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much. I appreciate your support of my channel. I hope everyone will hit the bell and choose all for your notifications so YouTube will let you know each time I upload new content or go live on my channel. DIY number 2 is a cone Christmas tree made out of poster board. We're also going to use these cork coasters, a wood star from Walmart, and some of the white cotton nautical rope from Dollar Tree. So this is a really cool method that I just learned, how to make a cone out of poster board. I have made these cone trees before using foam cones, but they can be a little expensive. So using a 50-cent sheet of poster board, I'm going to show you how you can make any size cone that you'd like. Now this one, I'm just going to make a 12-inch tall tree. You can see what I'm doing is taking a piece of string and tying it to the pointy end of a screwdriver. And then I'm also tying it to a Sharpie marker. The poster board is about 18 inches or 20 inches, I believe, on the shorter side. So that would be the largest cone you'd be able to make. Now putting your screwdriver right at the point of the corner and holding the string tight, you're going to swing the Sharpie marker to make your quarter circle. Go ahead and cut that out. And then it's just simply rolling it up, getting it so the bottom is flat. I'm going to use this cork coaster that came in a 2-pack from IKEA. You could use any sort of wood circle, or you don't even need to use it. It just helps to line it up. Roll up your cone so that you've got a nice point at the top, and your round, whatever you're putting at the bottom, fits inside. I believe my coaster was maybe 4.5 inches in diameter. Once you get your cone flat on the bottom and pointy on the top, you can use some packaging tape. You can use hot glue to keep it nice and tight and secure. I love this that you can make all different sizes. Probably with one piece of poster board, you could make 2 or 3 of these cones and then just wrap them with various different things. So I decided to keep this tree pretty neutral. I'm using the white cotton nautical rope from Dollar Tree, starting at the bottom, running a line of hot glue, and then just pressing the rope into the glue. We'll go all the way up to the top. There are so many options for what you could wrap around your trees. You could use strips of felt. You could use any of the yarns that are at Dollar Tree. You could use the jute, more of the tan colored nautical rope. You could use jute twine. What would you guys do? What would you wrap your cone trees with? I'd love to know in the comments. Here you can see I came to the end of one rope, and I'm just going to start another one right next to it, and you won't even really be able to tell once you wrap something else around your tree on the outside. I believe for this 12-inch tree I did use 1.5 packages of this white cotton nautical rope. Then as you get to the top, just keep adding a little bit more glue. You'll get to the very top, add a ton of glue at the top, and then you'll trim your rope and glue the end a little bit just so it doesn't fray. For the star on top of my tree, I'm using one of these wood stars from Walmart. It comes 6 in a package, and I'm using Waverly chalk paint in the color Lacquer. It's just a little bit of a darker red than crimson. I'm going to paint all the sides and the edges of this so that it'll be red whether you're looking at the tree from the front or the back, and then we'll let that dry completely. Then just taking some sticker letters that I have in my stash, I'm going to spell out Noel, starting with the first letter to the right of the center, which would be the E, and we'll get those letters all lined up. And then I would suggest doing a layer of Mod Podge over the stickers just to make sure they don't peel off. Once the star's all dry, we're just going to put a blob of hot glue there at the top, and we're going to wrap some of this baker's twine. I decided to use the red and white baker's twine. This would look really pretty if you have any of the berry garland that Dollar Tree carries during certain times of the year. You could even change it out. You could make this a spring tree by using like the green or the pink at Easter time, but for now, I'm going to use the baker's twine because that is available pretty much year-round in the crafting aisle. I'm going to go all the way around one direction, glue that end and trim it, and then I'm going to start at the top again and do crisscross going the opposite direction. And our last step is to glue our star at the top. I'm going to set it in a little bit of glue, and then once it's pretty dry on that side, I'll flip it around and glue it on the back. And here is our finished tree. Again, this is just an idea of what you could do. There are lots of different options for colors and textures that you can use to make your poster board cone trees. Please check the description box below the title of this video. That will give you some important links and also a list of all of the supplies that I used in these projects. If you love budget home decor DIY videos like this, please consider giving this video a thumbs up, as that lets YouTube know that people are enjoying my content and they will show it to more and more viewers. For my third Christmas in July project, I'm going to show you 2 different ways you can make Christmas houses using the one on the right from Dollar Tree, and the one on the left is available year-round from Hobby Lobby. So for this one from Dollar Tree, I have some in my stash. I still sometimes see them in the stores from time to time. I'm going to take my black or my ink Waverly chalk paint, and I'm going to completely paint in what they have as the front, but I'm going to use this as the back of my house. I'm going to paint the background, the insides, and also the edges. And then I will also paint all the edges on the outside as well. So the only part that will be left unpainted will be the back of the house. To add more of a roof to this house, I've cut 2 pieces of a 5-gallon paint stick. One is slightly shorter than the other, and you'll see why when I glue them on. One will go all the way to the top of the roof, and the other one will be kind of under it and a little bit shorter. So we're going to paint all the sides of that black. Now I'm going to use the same Mod Podge method as I did on my wood round. I'm just trimming my red and black gingham scrapbook paper or buffalo check. This is also available year-round at Hobby Lobby. Whenever the paper is on sale, I do stock up on some of these prints that I know I'm going to be using throughout the year. So put a good layer of matte finish Mod Podge on the back of your house, and then we're going to let that dry completely. And now that the Mod Podge is dry, we'll go ahead and line that scrapbook paper back up. And same way, we're going to use the iron to reactivate the Mod Podge and adhere down our scrapbook paper. I did forget to use the parchment paper, but it seemed to be okay since I was using paper and not something really thin like a napkin. Once we had that completely dry, same way, we're going to flip it over onto our cutting mat. Use our Fisker's fingertip cutting knife to trim the excess paper from around our house. Next, we're going to take our 2 pieces of paint stick and we're going to glue those down. I'm doing the shorter one first, and you can see how the one on the right is going to kind of overlap the end of the one on the left. This is just so that the point of the roof is covered, and then our 2, I'd call them tails of the roof, are about the same length. Now this point is also very flexible. Besides the type of paper that you use, these wood word stickers are available at Hobby Lobby year round. And I'm going to just use the word blessed. You could do any Christmassy type word like joy. And then I'm going to take some jute twine and just embellish the house a little bit. Wrap this around a few times after I secure one end inside with some hot glue. We'll wrap it about 4 or 5 times and then tie it off or cut it and glue it. Since we don't have Christmas bells out right now, you could add a little bead garland just using some wooden beads. I'm just going to make this about 4 beads long, white and natural, and then tie it to the front of the house hanging down. If you do have bells, you could make this even more Christmassy by using Christmas jingle bells instead of the beads. Now, if your Dollar Tree doesn't have any of those houses, you can get this one at Hobby Lobby. I always buy my wood products when they're on sale. There is also another basic house shape that doesn't have the little roof piece or the chimney. That is an option as well. Coming back to those wood word stickers, I'm going to do love, joy, and peace. To me, those are very appropriate words at Christmas time. And I'm just taking a Sharpie and making them black right over the natural wood color. And I also used the Sharpie to color in that little raised piece that is the roof and also the little chimney for the house. Next, to embellish my house a little bit more, I took some of this black and white gingham ribbon from Michaels. I'm going to cut 2 small pieces that will just outline the roof line and then wrap around the side of the roof. So just starting at the top, I'll run 1 piece with some hot glue, starting at the corner there or close to, and then I will trim it, and then we'll wrap that piece around once we get the other piece down as well. And now that our house is done, I'm going to take my words and lay those out. They are pretty sticky on the back, so I did not add any other adhesive. Note, if you do break the words, they can lay right on top of each other and you can't even tell. I love these houses, and I love that they really could go with neutral farmhouse decor, maybe not the red one, but the white and black. Style these with some bottle brush Christmas trees when Christmas season comes around. If you have been following my videos using Magnolia Design Company, I encourage you to head over to Facebook and make sure you like and follow my Monarch Mom DIY Facebook page, as that is where I mostly share about Magnolia. For my fourth DIY, I'm going to show you a couple different ways you can dress up these pillar candles that Dollar Tree has all the time. I happen to have a red one and a white one. The first one, I'm going to cut 2 lengths of this thicker burlap ribbon. It's got a neutral and black check, the tan and white check, and we're going to wrap these around our pillar candle. I'm just going to secure them with hot glue right to the glass and then the ends to each other. So I'm making this mostly covered up. You can see a little bit of the candle at the top, and then you'll also see a little bit of it at the bottom. Again, you can be completely flexible with whatever ribbon you have, whatever goes with your decor. I love that you can get these ready before Christmas time and even have them out. And then maybe just depending on what you style them with, like before I mentioned the bottle brush Christmas trees, you could lay some Christmas greenery at the bottom of these and it will just totally change the look for Christmas time. So we're just securing our 2 pieces of ribbon around our pillar candle, and then we will add a little more to dress them up for Christmas. I decided to tie and then wrap some of this plain red baker's twine, also from the Dollar Tree craft aisle, tying a knot and then trimming that end. And then I'm just going to wrap it around a few times, kind of to, one, add some color, but also to a little bit hide where the 2 pieces of ribbon kind of meet each other. And then just do it as much as you want and then trim it off and go ahead and tie it at the end. Now this is some boxwood greenery from Walmart. They have it pretty much all the time. So it's not necessarily Christmas florals. You could always change this out with some Christmas greenery as it gets available in the stores. But I actually love this boxwood greenery. I think you can dress it up or dress it down, as we say, for Christmas. I'm going to add one more bow. I just did a double length of the twine and wrapped that bow around the center of the greenery to kind of hide the stems. The other method I'm going to use, I'm going to take some of this old sheet music that I've had, and this one says Ring the Christmas Bells. I'm just trimming it so that 2 of these will wrap around our pillar candle. I'm going to do this on the red one, and I did use hot glue. You probably could use Mod Podge or tacky glue. I will say that the hot glue did make it a little bit bumpy, but you really couldn't tell once the candle was completely decorated. So here I'm just taking my 2 sheets. If you have larger sheet music or a printable that you can find online, you can use that as well. For this one, I'm going to use just regular colored jute twine, again, tying it in a knot, and then we will wrap it around a few times around our sheet music. This time we will use just one little piece of greenery, and like we did on the red and black house, I'm going to make a small little bead garland. Again, if you have jingle bells, you could definitely do that as well. Would make it look even more Christmassy, but I'm going to use the same boxwood greenery and a couple red and black beads. And now that we have our little bead garland on there, I'm just going to take one little piece of the boxwood and stick it in there. And then I'm going to wrap some jute twine around my hands or my fingers a few times, tie it in the center just to add a really simple bow. We'll just glue that right over top where the bead garland is tied to the jute twine. And here are my two finished candlesticks for Christmas. I really hope you guys enjoyed these projects and have lots of ideas now of ways you can start crafting for Christmas, even in July, with everyday craft items. Thanks again so much for joining me today. Please let me know in the comments which of these projects was your favorite and what you are working on this July, and we'll see you next time.